The wedding hall was full of lights, laughter, and music. Everyone was smiling. Everyone was dressed in their best clothes. But one woman stood alone at the back. She wore a simple gray dress. No makeup, no jewelry, just a soft scarf around her head. No one knew her name. No one even noticed her. But her eyes, they washed everything, and they were filled with both love and fear. Her name was Maya, and today her son was getting married. But no one knew she was his mother. Years ago, Maya had disappeared from her son's life, not because she wanted to, but because she had to. Back then, she had made a painful choice to protect her son from a dangerous truth. She left him with her sister in another city, hoping he would have a better life. She never returned. She never called. She watched him grow only through photographs sent by her sister. Now, years later, he stood at the front of the wedding stage. Tall, handsome, happy. Maya's heart ached with love. But she couldn't walk up to him and say, "I'm your mother." Not yet. Not until she was sure. She arrived at the wedding pretending to be just a guest from the bride's side. She quietly slipped in with the crowd, holding a small gift in her hand. She smiled politely at the guards, and they let her pass. She sat at a corner table, far from the main stage. No one looked her way. That was exactly what she wanted. Her eyes stayed on the groom, Arav, her son. He looked so much like his father, kind eyes, strong face. But Maya's joy was mixed with a strange feeling. Something didn't feel right. The bride, Nisha, kept looking at her phone nervously. She smiled for the guests, but her hands were shaking. And Maya noticed something else. A man in a black suit kept walking around the bride, whispering in her ear, controlling things. Maya's heart felt heavy. Suddenly, she heard a voice nearby. "She doesn't even look happy," one woman whispered. "She's marrying into money," another replied. "Who knows what's going on behind those smiles?" Maya turned her head slowly. Her mother's instincts were now stronger than ever. She knew something was wrong. This wasn't just cold feet. This was fear. Later, during the photo session, Maya moved closer. She stayed quiet, pretending to be one of the bride's distant relatives. She heard the bride's father talking to someone on the phone. "We'll make sure the deal goes through. After this wedding, no one can stop us." "Deal? What deal?" Maya froze. She knew that voice. She couldn't forget it. It had been years, but she remembered that same cruel laugh from her past. That man, Nisha's father, had once tried to destroy her life. Now he was here, controlling her son's wedding. Was this a coincidence? Or something deeper? She stepped back into the corner and sat down again. Her hands were cold. Her heart was racing. She looked at Arav. He was smiling. He had no idea. Should she tell him? Would he believe a stranger? Because to him, that's what she was. Just a quiet woman in a gray dress, sitting alone. Not a mother. Not yet. As the music played louder, Maya stood up and walked outside for some air. The evening sky was turning orange. She wiped her tears quietly. "I came just to see him, to bless him from far," she whispered. "But now, I can't leave." She looked back at the wedding hall. Something was wrong, and she had to find out what, even if it meant breaking her silence, even if it meant telling him the truth. She looked at her reflection in the glass door. The same face that once kissed him goodnight, the same hands that once held his tiny fingers. Would he remember her? Would he forgive her? But before any of that, she had to protect him. She couldn't let him marry into danger. Not again. Not like her own past. As the drums played louder inside, Maya stepped back in. This time, she didn't sit at the corner. She stood near the stage, still unseen, still quiet, but ready. Because she was not just a guest anymore. She was a mother on a mission. The wedding celebration continued with loud music, dancing, and cheerful guests. No one noticed the quiet woman standing near the sidewall. She stood still, watching everything closely, her eyes sharp and alert. Maya had a soft smile on her face, but inside, her heart was racing. She had seen something strange, something that didn't sit right with her. The man in the black suit, Nisha's father, was hiding something. She was sure of it. And if her son, Arav, was about to marry into that family, she had to know the truth. Maya moved slowly through the crowd. She didn't want to draw attention. She kept her head down, pretending to admire the decorations. She noticed a group of men standing near the entrance. They looked like security guards, but they weren't part of the hotel staff. They were watching the guests, not protecting them. It made her uneasy. She stepped a little closer and listened. "They don't suspect anything," one of the men said. "They better not," another replied. "We only need a few more hours." Maya's eyes widened. What were they talking about? What was supposed to happen in a few hours? She moved away before they could notice her and walked towards the back of the hall. There, she saw Nisha, the bride, standing alone near the mirror. Her eyes were red. It looked like she had been crying. Maya wanted to go to her, to comfort her. But she couldn't. Not yet. She had to stay in the shadows a little longer. For now, she would keep watching. Later, during the Mehendi function, everyone was dancing and laughing. Arav was smiling, completely unaware of the storm building around him. Maya sat quietly, holding a cup of tea. Across the room, she saw the bride's uncle arguing with someone on the phone. He kept repeating the words, "No, the money will be transferred after the wedding. We made a deal. Don't call me again." Maya's hands trembled slightly. This was not a normal wedding. There was something more going on, some kind of business, maybe illegal, and her son was in the middle of it. As the evening turned into night, Maya moved towards the corridor. She walked past a room with the door slightly open. She peeked inside. It was the bride's room. Nisha was sitting on the bed, her head in her hands. Maya hesitated. Then she stepped inside slowly and spoke gently. "Are you okay?" Nisha looked up, surprised. "Who are you?" "Just a guest," Maya said softly. "But I saw you crying. I felt I should check." Nisha tried to smile. "Thank you. It's just wedding stress." But her eyes told a different story. Maya sat beside her. "You don't seem happy." Nisha didn't respond for a moment. Then she whispered, "Sometimes things look perfect on the outside, but inside they are broken." Maya asked quietly, "Are you being forced to marry?" Nisha's eyes filled with tears again. She nodded slowly. "My father, he made a deal with Arav's business partners. They need this marriage to join two companies. It's not about love. It's business." Maya's heart dropped. "But Arav doesn't know," Nisha continued. "He's a good man. He thinks I love him. I didn't want to hurt him. But I don't have a choice." Maya reached out and held her hand. "You always have a choice," she said, "but you need someone to stand with you." Nisha looked confused. "Why are you helping me? You don't even know me." Maya smiled gently. "Because I know what it's like to be forced into silence." Suddenly, they heard footsteps in the corridor. Maya quickly stood up and left the room before anyone could see her. As she returned to the hall, her face had changed. No more fear. Now it was determination. She had to protect her son. And she had to help this girl. Arav came to the stage for the next ceremony. The crowd clapped. The music played. But Maya stood near the back, her arms crossed. She was planning, waiting, watching. She didn't know how she would stop the wedding yet, but she knew one thing. She would not let her son walk into a trap. Not again. The wedding night was getting closer. Lights sparkled across the hall, and music played louder than ever. Everyone looked happy, but behind the smiles, there were secrets no one could see. Maya stood near a pillar, quiet but alert. She was not just a guest anymore. She was a mother on a mission, watching, listening, and preparing for something big. She had to stop this wedding. But first, she needed proof. While the guests danced and took selfies, Maya slipped away. She walked down a hallway and turned towards the staff area. It was quiet there. No cameras, no guards. She remembered the bride's father had gone into a room there earlier. The door was closed, but voices came from inside. She leaned closer. Inside, the bride's father was speaking to two men. His voice was cold. Everything must happen before the wedding ends. Once my daughter is married, Arav's company signs the deal. We'll have control. Then we vanish. Maya gasped silently. Control. Vanish. What was this man planning? One of the other men asked, "What if someone finds out?" The father laughed. "Who will believe a nervous bride or an old woman watching from the back? Arav is blind with love. He'll never see it coming." Maya's hands turned cold. She stepped back slowly, heart pounding. They were using Arav, and after the wedding, they would disappear with power and money. This was bigger than she thought. Maya returned to the hall, pretending to be calm. She saw Nisha again. The girl looked lost in the crowd, her eyes searching for a way out. Maya walked to her and whispered, "I heard everything. We can stop them." Nisha's eyes widened. "What will we do?" "We expose them. But not yet. We wait for the right moment," Maya said softly. "Until then, act normal." Later that evening, Maya followed one of the shady men into the parking area. He opened his car trunk, took out a black briefcase, and made a call. Maya couldn't hear everything, but she caught one word: papers. Something was going to be signed tonight. A contract. A deal. She knew she had to get those documents. She quickly took out her phone and snapped a photo of the man, the briefcase, and the car's license plate. Then she returned inside. Back in the wedding hall, Arav stood on the stage, laughing with friends. He looked so happy, so unaware. Maya's heart broke again. She remembered his childhood laugh, his first steps, his school bag. She wanted to run to him, to hold him, to say, "It's me, your mother." But not yet. She had to protect him first. She had to stop this wedding. She walked to the hotel manager and asked, "Can I speak to you privately?" Inside the manager's office, she showed the photos and spoke calmly. "There is something wrong happening. The bride's family is hiding something dangerous. Please check this car and those men." The manager looked unsure. "This is a big event, a rich family. I can't get involved without proof." Maya leaned in. "Please, just check quietly. Don't tell them. You might save someone's life." The manager finally nodded. "I'll see what I can do." That night, Maya and Nisha secretly met again. They sat in a corner of the garden where no one could hear them. "I want to tell Arav everything," Nisha said, tears in her eyes. "Not yet," Maya replied. "We need to show him the truth, not just tell him. If we don't have proof, he might think you're scared or confused." Nisha nodded. "I'm scared he'll hate me." Maya smiled sadly. "If he truly loves you, he won't." Suddenly, Nisha looked closely at Maya. "You seem familiar," she said. "Have we met before?" Maya paused. Then she shook her head softly. "No, but I know your pain." Nisha didn't ask again. But something in her heart whispered, this woman was not just a guest. As the wedding day approached, Maya knew the time was near. She had to move fast. She had to stop this before it was too late. And soon, she would have to reveal the truth. Not just about the bride's family, but about herself. The night before the wedding was filled with bright lights and loud music. Guests danced. Laughter echoed. It looked like a celebration of love. But behind the curtains, deep secrets were about to rise. Maya stood at the edge of the garden, her heart heavy. She had learned everything she needed to know. The bride's family was not just greedy. They were dangerous. But now, something else was haunting her heart. Something she had buried long ago. That morning, while walking through the old part of the hotel, Maya had passed by a wall of framed photographs. Weddings, parties, famous guests. And then she saw it. A picture from many years ago. A man in a black suit, holding a small child. The man was the same person she had overheard, the bride's father. But Maya's breath caught not because of him. It was because of the woman standing beside him. It was her. It was Maya, younger, smiling, holding that same child in her arms. She hadn't known this photo still existed. And now it was out in the open. Memories rushed back like a storm. Years ago, she had loved a man, Rowan. He was powerful, rich, and dangerous. She didn't know it then. He made promises. He gave her a home. He gave her a son. But when she found out the truth, that his money came from crime, she tried to leave. He stopped her. He took her child and told the world she had died. For years, Maya lived in hiding, alone, grieving. But now she knew. Rohan was Nisha's father, and the man her son was about to call father-in-law. Maya stood frozen in front of the photo. Tears fell silently from her eyes. This wedding wasn't just a mistake. It was a trap built by the same man who had stolen everything from her. And Arav, her sweet son, he had grown up with another family. Rohan had raised him, changed his name. And now Maya understood everything. Why she had felt drawn to Arav the moment she saw him. Why her heart had whispered, "He's mine." Because he was. Her child. Her son. She walked back to her room, her hands shaking. She looked at herself in the mirror, a woman in a simple saree. Tired eyes. A face aged by pain and time. But tonight, she had to become something else. Strong. Brave. Ready to speak the truth, even if it destroyed everything. That evening, she met Nisha again in secret. They sat on the balcony, far from the noise. "I know who your father is," Maya said softly. Nisha looked down. "He's not a good man." Maya nodded. "No, he isn't." She reached into her bag and showed Nisha the photo she had taken from the hotel wall. "That woman, that's me." Nisha stared in shock. "What do you mean?" "I used to be with Rohan," Maya said. "And the boy in his arms, that's my son." Nisha gasped. "Arav." Maya nodded slowly. "Yes, I'm his real mother." Nisha covered her mouth. "He doesn't know." "No," Maya said, her voice trembling. "He thinks I'm dead. Rowan told him lies." Nisha held her hand. "We have to tell him." Maya looked away. "I'm scared. What if he doesn't believe me? What if he hates me?" Nisha shook her head. "He's kind. He'll feel it. The truth will reach his heart." Maya took a deep breath. "Then tomorrow, before the wedding, I'll tell him everything." But they had no idea. Rowan had seen the old photo was missing. He had already started asking questions. And he was watching. Closely. That night, Maya sat in her room, unable to sleep. She looked at the stars through the window and whispered a prayer. "God, give me strength. Let my son know the truth. Let him come back to me." She folded her hands, not as a guest, but as a mother. A mother who had waited years to hold her child again. Tomorrow, the wedding hall would not be filled with joy. It would be filled with truth. And truth was stronger than any lie. The wedding day finally arrived. The hall was bright with lights. Flowers decorated every wall. Guests walked in with smiles and colorful clothes. The sound of drums and laughter filled the air. It was supposed to be a day of joy. But for Maya, it was the most important day of her life. Because today, she was not just a guest. Today, she would tell her son the truth. Maya stood near the back, her hands tightly holding her small purse. Her heart beat fast. Her legs felt weak. But her eyes were strong. She watched Arav walk to the stage, dressed like a prince. Everyone clapped. He looked happy. He looked proud. But he was walking toward a life built on lies. Maya whispered to herself, "It's time." She made her way through the crowd. People looked at her strangely, wondering who this simple woman was walking toward the stage. She didn't stop. Not until she stood just a few feet away from Arav. He turned when he heard someone call his name softly. "Arav." He blinked. "Yes. I need to speak with you. Alone," Maya said, her voice calm but firm. Arav looked confused. "Now, I'm about to get married." Nisha, standing nearby, stepped in. "Please, Arav, just 5 minutes. It's important." He looked at Nisha, then back at Maya. Something in her eyes. Something deep. Something familiar. He nodded. "All right, let's go." They stepped into a quiet room. Maya stood still for a moment. Her hands trembled. Then she slowly took out the old photo from her purse. "I want to show you something," she said. She gave him the photo. He looked at it. A man, a baby, and a woman. His eyes narrowed. "This is my father. And that baby looks like me." He pointed at the woman. "Who is she?" Maya took a deep breath. "That woman is me." Silence. Arav laughed, nervously. "That's not possible. My mother died years ago." "No," Maya said gently. "That's what your father told you. But it was a lie." Arav's face turned serious. "What are you talking about?" "I am your mother, Arav. My name is Maya. Your father took you from me. He told the world I died. I didn't. I lived in silence, in pain, all these years, waiting for a moment like this." Arav stepped back. "No, this can't be true." Tears filled Maya's eyes. "I didn't come to ruin your day. I came to give you the truth." Arav's hands shook as he stared at the photo. Then he looked at her closely. Her eyes, her face, her voice. Memories came rushing back, soft songs, a gentle hand, a warm hug from long ago. "Maya," he whispered. "I used to say that name in my sleep. I didn't know why." Maya nodded, tears falling. "You remembered me, even when the world told you I was gone." Suddenly, the door opened. It was Rohan. His face turned red with anger. "What are you doing here?" he shouted at Maya. Arav stepped in front of her. "Is it true?" he asked Rohan. "Did you lie to me?" Rohan didn't answer. "Did you take me from her?" Still silence. Arav raised his voice. "Answer me." Rohan looked at Maya, then at Arav. Finally, he said coldly, "Yes, I did." The room went silent. Arav stepped back in shock. "You destroyed 2 lives, mine and hers." Rohan tried to speak, but Arav raised his hand. "No, don't say anything." He turned to Maya. "Why didn't you come back before?" "I didn't know where you were," she said. "And when I found out, it was too dangerous." "But you're here now," he whispered. Maya nodded. "I came for you." Arav's voice broke. "I don't know what to feel." "You don't have to say anything," Maya said, wiping his tears. "Just know that I never stopped loving you. Never." At that moment, Nisha entered the room. She looked at Arav. "Are you okay?" He nodded slowly. "I just met my real mother. And I found out my father is a liar." Nisha held his hand. "Then we know the truth. Now we choose what to do with it." Arav looked at Maya. "Stay close," he said. "You're not a stranger anymore." Maya smiled softly. "Thank you, my son." The wedding hall was waiting. But the celebration had turned into a storm of truth. Maya had broken her silence. Arav had learned who he really was. And now, everything was about to change. The wedding music still played. Guests clapped. Cameras flashed. The priest waited at the stage, but something was wrong. Too much time had passed. People began whispering. Where is the groom? Why is it taking so long? Backstage, Arav stood between two worlds. On one side, Nisha, the woman he was about to marry. On the other, Maya, the mother he thought he lost forever. His heart was heavy. His mind raced. Everything he believed was now broken. He turned to Maya. You gave me back my truth, he said softly. But I don't know what to do now. Maya gently placed her hand on his shoulder. I only want you to follow your heart, she said. You don't have to choose me or the past. Just choose what feels right. Arav looked at Nisha. She's not like her father. She knew the truth. She helped you. Maya smiled faintly. Then maybe this wedding was meant to happen. Not because of lies, but because of honesty. Just then, Rohan walked in again, this time with 2 security guards behind him. I want this woman thrown out, he barked. She's ruining everything. Arav stepped forward. You're the one who ruined everything. Watch your tone, Rohan growled. No, Arav said firmly. I know everything now. I know what you did to my mother. You lied. You used me. And you built your life on pain. Rohan laughed coldly. You wouldn't have the life you have today if it wasn't for me. I would rather have lived poor with the truth, Arav said, than rich with lies. Maya stepped in front of Rohan. I'm not afraid of you anymore, she said. Rohan's eyes burned with anger. You can't stop this wedding now. Too many people are watching. But Maya stayed calm. I'm not here to stop the wedding. I'm here to stop the lies. Suddenly, Nisha stepped forward. She looked at her father, eyes filled with tears. All my life, I tried to believe you were a good man. But today, I see you for who you really are. Rohan was stunned. You too. Nisha nodded. I want a future without your secrets. If Arav still wants to marry me, I'll stand by him. But not with your name, not with your help. Rohan laughed bitterly. Ungrateful children. Then he turned and stormed out. Back in the wedding hall, the crowd waited in confusion. Some had started leaving. But soon, they heard footsteps. Arav walked out slowly. Beside him, Maya. The guests looked shocked. Whispers grew louder. Who is that woman? Why is she with the groom? Arav raised his hand. Please listen, he said. Everyone became quiet. This wedding was supposed to be a celebration, but behind the flowers and lights, there were lies, big lies. He turned to Maya. This woman is not a guest. She's my real mother. Gasps filled the room. She was taken from me when I was a baby. I didn't know she was alive. My father lied to me. But today, I found the truth. Arav held Maya's hand tightly. I'm standing here now, not just as a groom, but as a son. He looked at Nisha, who joined him on stage. And if this wedding is to happen, it will be built on truth, love, and courage, not fear or control. Nisha nodded. We choose a new beginning. The priest smiled gently. Then let this be the real start of something honest. The ceremony continued, but it felt different. Stronger. Real. Maya stood in the front row, tears in her eyes. She had dreamed of seeing her son happy, but she never imagined she'd be part of his wedding. As his mother, as Arav and Nisha took their vows, everyone stood silently. Some wiped tears from their eyes. Even strangers could feel the emotion in the air. Not because of music, not because of gold or clothes, but because of one thing, truth. And in that truth, love had found its way. Later that evening, as the sky turned orange, Arav sat beside Maya. You didn't just save me, he said. You saved my soul. Maya smiled. You came back to me. That's all I ever prayed for. They held hands, mother and son, together at last. Not as strangers, but as family. The wedding was over. The guests had gone. The lights were dim. The flowers had begun to fade, but the feeling in the air was still strong. Arav and Nisha had started their new life. And Maya, she finally had her son back. But not everyone was ready to let go. Rowan sat alone in his office. His tie was loose. His hands were shaking. He had lost everything: his control, his image, his daughter's trust. And his son. His eyes burned with anger and regret. "They turned her into a hero," he whispered. "I won't let her win." He picked up his phone. One last call. One last plan. The next morning, Maya sat by the window of a small guest house. Sunlight touched her face, but her eyes looked far away. She still couldn't believe what had happened. She had walked into that wedding as a stranger. She was leaving as a mother. But a quiet fear still lived inside her. What if Rohan doesn't stop? What if he still tries to take Arav from me again? Just then, there was a knock. It was Arav. He walked in with 2 cups of tea. "For you," he said with a smile. Maya smiled too. "You still remember how I like it?" "I think I always knew," he replied. They sat together. "Are you okay?" he asked her. "I am now," she said, "but part of me still waits for something bad to happen." Arav nodded. "I've been thinking the same." Just then, his phone rang. It was an unknown number. He picked it up. His face changed. Maya watched him. "What is it?" she asked softly. Arav ended the call. "It was a lawyer," he said. "Dad is trying to claim that you are mentally unstable. He wants to get you arrested for crashing the wedding." Maya sat back, shocked. "After everything?" Arav clenched his fists. "I'll handle this. He can't hurt you again." That afternoon, Arav and Maya walked into a lawyer's office. They showed all the evidence: photos, old documents, witnesses. Nisha gave a written statement. Even the priest from the wedding gave his support. The lawyer smiled. "He doesn't have a case. The truth is on your side." Arav looked at Maya. "But what do you want to do?" he asked. "We can fight him in court, or we can ignore him." Maya stayed silent for a moment. Then she said, "I want to see him. One last time." Later that evening, Maya walked alone into Rohan's office. He looked older than before, tired, bitter. "You shouldn't be here," he said coldly. "I came to say goodbye," she replied. He laughed. "You think you've won." "No," Maya said calmly. "This was never a game. I just wanted my son to know the truth." "You destroyed everything," Rowan hissed. "No, you destroyed yourself," she replied. "And now you are alone." Rowan stood up. "Get out." Maya turned to leave. But before she did, she looked back one last time. "I forgive you." Rowan froze. His mouth opened, but no words came out. Maya walked out slowly. That was her power. Peace. She didn't need revenge. She needed freedom. And now she had it. Days passed. Maya packed her things. She was ready to leave the guest house. Arav came to help. "You can stay with us," he offered again. Maya smiled. "I know, but I want to start fresh. A small home. A garden. Peace." Arav nodded. "But promise me something," he said. "Anything. Don't disappear again." Maya laughed softly. "Never." He hugged her tightly. "You're not a stranger anymore. You're my mother. And nothing can change that." As Maya rode away in the taxi, she looked back at the city one last time. Tears rolled down her cheeks, but they were not from pain. They were from healing. For years, she lived in silence. Now she was heard. For years, she was invisible. Now she was seen. Her goodbye wasn't loud. It was silent. But it was powerful. And it was final. 6 months had passed. The city had moved on. The wedding was a memory. The noise, the drama, the whispers, gone. But for 3 people, everything had changed forever. Arav, Nisha, and Maya were now building something new, a family built on truth. Maya now lived in a small, peaceful house outside the city. She had flowers in her garden, a swing on the porch, books stacked by the window, and pictures, real, smiling pictures of her and her son. Sometimes she still woke up early and checked her phone, wondering if it had all been a dream. But then, Arav would message her. "Good morning, Ma. Hope your plants are growing as fast as our love is." She would smile every time. One morning, Maya got a surprise call. "Hello," she answered. A soft voice replied. "Maya, this is Mira. I used to work at Rowan's house. Years ago." Maya sat up straight. "I remember you." "I just wanted to say," Mira continued, "I knew something was wrong. I saw you leave that night, but I was scared. I didn't speak up." Maya took a deep breath. "It's okay, Mira. You were not the only one who was afraid. But you speaking now, it means something." Mira's voice cracked. "I hope you find peace." "I already have," Maya said gently. Meanwhile, Arav and Nisha were busy starting a charity. It was called Second Chances. They helped women and children who had been lied to, abused, or pushed aside. Each time Arav spoke at events, he would say, "My mother lost years of her life because someone tried to erase her, but she never gave up. Now we won't let others go unheard again." Maya sometimes watched from the crowd, her eyes full of tears, but also pride. He wasn't just her son. He was her legacy. One evening, the family had dinner together. Nisha cooked. Arav set the table. Maya brought sweets. They laughed. They shared stories. After the meal, Maya pulled out an old faded box. "What's that?" Arav asked. She opened it. Inside were baby photos, little socks, a tiny bracelet with his name. "I kept these all these years," she said. "They were all I had left of you." Arav picked up the bracelet. He held it in his hand, silent. Then he said, "You didn't lose me, Ma. You carried me in your heart." Maya wiped her tears. "And you brought me back to life." The next day, a letter came in the mail. It was from Rowan. No return address. Just a single page. "I lost everything. My pride. My family. Myself. You were always stronger than me, Maya. I don't ask for forgiveness. Just peace." Maya read it twice. Then she folded it and placed it in her drawer. Not because she needed to remember him, but because it reminded her of how far she had come. That night, Maya wrote in her journal, "Pain can stay in your body for years, but truth can set your spirit free. I lost my voice once. Now I use it to help others find theirs." As the moonlight poured through the window, Maya stood outside. A breeze touched her face. She closed her eyes. She thought of the past, not with anger, but with understanding. She thought of her son, not as a boy lost, but a man found. She thought of herself, not as a stranger anymore, but a mother, a survivor, and a guide. This wasn't the end of the story. It was the beginning of a new chapter. And this time, she was writing it herself.